When police dog Ranger got trapped in the frozen river, everyone thought it was too late for him. But those 4 minutes underwater would change not just one dog's fate, but the destiny of an entire town forever. It was 6:23 a.m. and alarm bells were ringing throughout Riverside Township. The winter morning was brutal with temperatures at -8 degrees Celsius. K-9 Unit Officer Lisa Thompson was rushing to an emergency call with her 3-year-old German Shepherd Ranger. A major robbery had taken place at the downtown First National Bank, and the suspects had fled toward Miller Creek River, which was frozen solid in the winter's brutal cold. Lisa gripped the steering wheel, her heart racing as she glanced at Ranger. The dog was alert and ready as always, with that familiar determination burning in his eyes. "You ready, buddy?" she whispered. Ranger's sharp bark gave her a clear answer. When they arrived at the scene, other police units had already taken position, their emergency lights cutting through the darkness. Commissioner Bradley quickly briefed Lisa. 3 suspects fled with approximately $200,000 in cash. They were last seen heading toward the riverbank. "The ice isn't completely solid, it's dangerous in this weather." Lisa nodded and unleashed Ranger. The dog immediately got to work, pressing his nose to the ground and beginning to track. His abilities were legendary. He had never lost a trail, never failed to catch a criminal, but something felt different in the air today. Lisa had a strange sense of unease building inside her. Ranger tracked the scent all the way to the riverbank. Miller Creek was a narrow but deep waterway that froze over in winter. This year it had frozen particularly early, but the unexpected warm weather had dangerously reduced the ice thickness. When Lisa saw the footprints on the ice, her stomach churned. "They crossed over the ice," she radioed in. "Ranger's tracking," but then something terrible happened. The moment Ranger stepped boldly onto the ice, an unexpected cracking sound echoed around them. Lisa's heart stopped. "Ranger, come back," she screamed. But it was too late. The ice exploded beneath Ranger's paws in a spider web of deadly fractures. Lisa watched in slow-motion horror as her partner disappeared through the jagged hole into the black water below. The ice shattered beneath Ranger, and the 50-kilogram German Shepherd suddenly plunged into the icy water. The water temperature was -2 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, a dog's survival time was maximum 5–6 minutes. Lisa screamed Ranger. The sound that came from her throat wasn't human. It was the cry of someone watching their world collapse. She threw herself forward, her knees hitting the frozen ground as she crawled to the edge of the hole. The dog was desperately trying to swim where he had fallen, but he was losing strength with each passing second. His thick winter coat was soaking wet, weighing him down. Ranger's breath was coming out as vapor, and there was panic in his eyes. Lisa had never felt so helpless in her life. She couldn't step onto the ice because she would fall through too. Every passing second was pulling Ranger deeper. "Someone help," she cried. But there was no one around. Ranger's head began going underwater. The dog could barely surface. His body temperature was dropping rapidly. His muscles were seizing up. The first signs of hypothermia were beginning to show. 1 minute passed. Ranger was still fighting but starting to become motionless. Lisa could see the change in his movements. The frantic paddling was becoming weaker. His eyes, usually so bright and alert, were beginning to glaze over. She pulled out her radio, hands shaking. "Officer down, K-9 officer down in the water. Need immediate assistance at Miller Creek." Her voice cracked on every word. 2 minutes passed. Ranger's thrashing slowed. His eyes began to close. The terrible thing wasn't just that he was drowning, it was that he was giving up. Lisa could see it in his face. The fight was leaving him. "No, don't leave me," Lisa cried through tears. "Fight, Ranger, fight." Just at that critical moment, unexpected help arrived. Someone was running from the other side of the river. Marcus Rivera, a 45-year-old retired firefighter, had heard the sounds during his morning jog and immediately rushed to the scene. "I'm coming," Marcus shouted, but when he saw the situation, his face went pale. Ranger was now almost motionless, just trying to breathe while drowning. Marcus pulled out a rope from his emergency bag, but the condition of the ice was very dangerous. Any wrong move could send him into the icy water too. "It's too risky," Lisa shouted. "It's the only chance for this dog." Marcus was determined. 3 minutes had passed. Ranger's chance of survival was approaching zero. The dog was no longer paddling. He was just floating, his body shutting down to preserve core temperature. Marcus tied the rope around his waist and slowly stepped onto the ice. With each step, the ice cracked, making dangerous sounds. His heart pounding, he began moving step by step toward Ranger. First step, the ice held but groaned ominously. Second step, a slight cracking sound but still solid. Third step, an ominous sound came from the ice. Marcus stopped. He was still 5 meters from Ranger, but the dog was getting worse by the second. "Be careful, Marcus." Lisa was watching with bated breath. Fourth step, the ice under Marcus cracked more violently. He was now 3 meters from Ranger, but the dog was struggling to stay on the surface with his eyes starting to close. When Marcus prepared to take the next step, he felt a much larger section crack beneath him, but he couldn't turn back now. Ranger's breathing was becoming increasingly difficult. "Hurry," Marcus thought to himself. Fifth step, this time the ice didn't hold. Marcus's foot sank into the ice, but he managed to keep balance and continued forward. Sixth step, he was now only 1 meter from Ranger, but his own feet were starting to touch the icy water. "Almost there," Marcus shouted. Ranger wasn't even swimming anymore. He was just trying to stay on the surface, but even that was becoming difficult. His body temperature had dropped so much that his muscles weren't working. When Marcus took his final step, the ice beneath him completely collapsed. But with one last desperate move, he threw himself toward Ranger and managed to wrap the rope around the dog's neck just as they both went under. Seplash! The cold hit Marcus like a physical blow. Every nerve in his body screamed as the -2-degree water enveloped him. But somehow, he kept his grip on Ranger. Now both of them were thrashing in the icy water. 4 minutes had passed. The critical limit had been exceeded for Ranger. Marcus could feel that Ranger was no longer breathing. "Pull! Pull!" Marcus shouted, but his voice was already becoming weak. Lisa grabbed the other end of the rope and began pulling using all her body weight. But the weight of two beings was too much. The rope became taut but didn't move. "Help me!" Lisa screamed. By this time, other police officers had started arriving. 2 more officers helped Lisa, and they all began pulling together. The rope cut into their hands as they pulled with everything they had. 5 minutes had passed. The situation was critical for both of them. "Hurry up!" Marcus screamed, but his voice was getting weaker. He could feel his grip on Ranger loosening. With one final strong pull, the team managed to bring Marcus and Ranger to the edge of the ice. Marcus tried to push Ranger up with his remaining strength. "Take the dog first," he shouted. Lisa and the other officers reached out to pull the motionless Ranger from the water. The dog was completely soaked, ice cold and motionless. He didn't seem to be breathing. "Ranger!" Lisa screamed. "Ranger!" After pulling the dog from the water, they rescued Marcus, but he had also become very weak. His face was pale, his lips blue. 2 more officers pulled Marcus out by his arms. He collapsed immediately, his body shaking uncontrollably. 6 minutes had passed. Both were lying on the ground, motionless. Lisa ran to Ranger's side. The dog had his eyes closed, wasn't breathing. His body was ice cold. His heart had almost stopped. "No, no, no." Lisa knelt down and immediately began CPR. Every time Lisa pressed on Ranger's chest, icy water came out of his mouth. The dog had swallowed so much water that his lungs were full. 30 chest compressions. Lisa leaned down to Ranger's mouth, and gave him breath. Air wasn't passing because the dog's lungs were full of water. "It's not working." Lisa was in panic. Marcus, shivering violently, approached Lisa. "Turn him on his side," he said breathlessly. "The water needs to come out." Lisa turned Ranger on his side and hit his back hard. A large amount of icy water came out of the dog's mouth. She turned him back and continued CPR with renewed desperation. 30 seconds passed. No movement. "Come on, Ranger, you're my hero," Lisa cried through tears. "Don't leave me." 60 seconds passed. Still no sign. Marcus came next to Lisa and began helping her. "Don't give up," he whispered. "Keep going." 90 seconds. Lisa's hands were shaking, but she didn't stop. She continued CPR. 120 seconds passed. The surrounding officers began exchanging worried looks. Too much time had passed. "Lisa," said one of the officers in a soft tone. "No," Lisa screamed. "I'm not giving up." She continued the compressions more frantically. 150 seconds. Tears were flowing from Lisa's eyes, but her hands didn't stop. And right at that moment, at the 180th second, Ranger suddenly coughed violently. A large amount of water came out of his mouth. He slightly opened his eyes, and for the first time in minutes, took a breath on his own. "He's alive," Lisa screamed. "He's alive." But they weren't safe yet. Ranger was still very weak. His breathing was difficult. Lisa wrapped Ranger in her jacket and hugged him tightly. "You're going to make it," she whispered. "You're a fighter." Marcus also tried to get up. "We need to get him to a vet immediately," he said. "Internal temperature is too low." "To my car," Lisa said. "It'll be faster." They laid Ranger in the back seat, wrapped in jackets and blankets. Lisa got behind the wheel, while Marcus sat in the back checking Ranger's pulse. "Pulse is very weak," Marcus said, "but it's there. He's strong." On the way to the veterinary clinic, Ranger was trying to keep his eyes open. Sometimes he looked at Lisa, as if trying to say, "I'm okay. You're hanging in there, buddy," Lisa said through the rearview mirror. "You're making me proud." When they arrived at the clinic, Dr. Martinez was already waiting. They immediately took Ranger to the emergency room. "Body temperature is 32 degrees, the doctor said. "Critical hypothermia, but he has a strong heart. He wants to fight." After 2 hours of intensive treatment, Dr. Martinez gave Lisa the news. "He's going to make it. Surviving this long in icy water is a miracle. This dog is truly special." Lisa waited by Ranger's bedside, holding his paw. The dog slowly came to himself. The first thing he did was lick Lisa's hand. "Hello, hero," Lisa said through tears of relief. "You scared me." The next day, after passing the veterinary check, Ranger was ready to track again. Lisa initially objected. "It's too early. He needs to rest," but Ranger insisted. There was stronger determination in his eyes than before. It was as if that icy water experience had completely awakened his survival instinct. When Ranger picked up the trail of the fleeing criminals that evening, he worked with much sharper focus than before. The trail led to an old farmhouse outside the city. 3 suspects were hiding here and still carrying all the money. Ranger approached the house silently, much more careful and strategic. The icy water experience had taught him the importance of patience and determination. The operation was completed perfectly. 3 suspects were caught, $200,000 was recovered, but the most surprising thing was the tremendous improvement in Ranger's performance. Marcus Rivera would later say that this rescue operation was the most meaningful moment of his life. "That day I didn't just rescue a dog," he would say. "I also learned the true meaning of courage." The bond between Lisa and Ranger had become unbreakable. Those critical minutes they spent in the icy water had changed both their lives forever. Ranger hadn't just survived physically, he had also become mentally stronger. That experience had shown him that no matter how difficult it gets, you must never give up. And for Lisa it became a lesson she would remember in every difficulty. If he could survive that 6-minute battle in icy water, we can survive anything. Because real heroes emerge in the most critical moments, and sometimes they can be four-legged loyal partners. That icy water story wasn't just a rescue operation. It was a legendary struggle showing the power of courage, determination, and never giving up. Ranger's 6-minute life struggle had changed both himself and everyone around him. Because sometimes life's greatest lessons come from the hardest moments. Have you ever wondered how animals gain incredible powers when they come face to face with death? The amazing survival struggle they show in these critical moments seems to make them super powerful. Is it adrenaline or some mysterious force that science can't explain yet? What do you think is the secret behind this extraordinary transformation? Make sure to share the most impressive animal survival story you've seen in the comments. Which scene surprised you the most? If you don't want to miss such amazing nature moments, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. If you want to see more incredible survival stories like this, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends too because they need to see these footage as well.